And I'd be lying if I didn't say honestly. Uh, I'd be lying if I didn't say honestly that I guess I envy girls. I guess I always have in certain ways. It probably started when I was really young. Probably started back in Light Factory, or maybe even earlier in Pathfinders in St Barnabas Church. But I always remember not having very good male friends at that point in my life. In fact, I had very few friends in general. And the environments I were in were church environments. And if you know anything about church environments, you know typically women outnumber men by about 2 to 1. And the people who were friendly to me and who listened to me as a human being instead of just expecting me to fit their stereotypes were mostly young women. And I would have considered them my better friends, the young women who were generous enough to make me feel like I could use the term friend. However, there was a limit on their friendship. No matter how close I got to them, and I didn't really have time to get nearly as close as I would have liked to most of them, but no matter how close I did, there was always these times when they would go off into their girly little huddles and block all the men out, and I wasn't welcome. And I didn't seem to get nearly as much success with men trying to be friends with them. I just couldn't seem to get on the same wavelength with most of them. Um, so it left me feeling pushed out and excluded by girls in general, and I guess ever since then I've always wanted to get back into the little girls only huddle that I was never admitted into all those years ago. You know, I've always wanted admittance. But there are lots of other things they have that I managed to envy as well. Their ability to do anything, for instance. I mean, there isn't really a profession in the world anymore that a girl can't be taken seriously at. Okay? Um, it doesn't matter if it's feminine or masculine in appearance, they will say, ah, but these are modern times, girls need to be allowed to do it. Okay? I tried to, as part of Harvest, when I went away, to go to the cheerleading workshop and to try my hand at cheerleading, and the teacher there took me seriously. In fact, she said over half her squad was male. But the girl in front of me and the two girls lazing about sitting behind me acting as spectators and jeering, because they were jeering, they just wouldn't give me a break. One girl kept turning around and saying, well, can you just go? Can you just go? You don't belong here. You can't do everything. You can't be involved in everything. And the girls at the back were just bursting out into laughter or sniggering at every other moment. You know? Yeah, if we had a girl going to do I don't know, some stereotypical male activity, a hardcore rugby course, I don't think we'd have men at the back sniggering or going, you can't be here, you can't do here, you can't expect to do everything in life. Can you just go? You can't expect to have a go at everything. Wouldn't happen. And I'll just be blunt about it. I think there's a side of me that's been unfulfilled. a more artistic, more subtle side. Do you know that I used to, as a teenager, design lots of things? Now, you all know, I assume most of you know, that I used to design with varying degrees of realisticness in my design. Some of them were quite carefully worked out scientific concepts, and others were a bit more not pipe dreamish, shall we say, a little more ethereal in their definition. And I used to design machines, war machines, uh, construction machines, computers. I used to come up with designs for things. And what you may not have known is I came up with designs for different things. I designed costumes. I did. I even attempted to design a wedding dress once. I attempted to design a swimsuit. Um, I believe I've lost these files. It was quite a clever swimsuit as well, because it had like two parts. It had like a transparent and a non-transparent part, and had this cool circuit diagram print I designed on it over the transparent part, and yeah. Anyway, I designed some science fiction costumes. Lots of things involving body-hugging designs with cutaway sections and um, attachable leather plates and that sort of thing. The occasional pipe hanging off something. I used to design buildings. Architecturally interesting buildings with interesting features like running water in central corridors. I actually quite like the idea of this building. It was a church I designed, but had, instead of a central aisle, it had a central water feature where water ran down a kind of a sloped aqueduct into the kind of the main body of the church, into the kind of what you would call the front. And then it flowed down into the sides, away out of either wing. And it actually led round both ways in a tube to the second section of the church. And you could actually walk down narrow pathways, or indeed ride on some sort of floating device, was my plan, through to a back section of the church, like a vestibule area, I guess. And I planned to put all these little light reflecting discs so that light would come down from large high windows in the ceiling and high walls, and would then be bounced back through the room across a series of these shiny discs of various different shapes, flat or parabolic, to fill the room with light efficiently. That was the plan.